So first, if you want to know how much material to use, you have to use the hip measurement divide by 4. Then you add about 5 inches. So when you divide the hip measurement, if you get 10, then you can add about 5 inches and make sure the material then is about 15 inches wide. Okay, now this is my starting line here. So right across, I draw a line, and that is where I'm going to be taking my measurements from. I'm going to be marking off the crotch line, I'm going to be marking the hip line, I'm going to be marking the knee line, and then I'm going to be marking the ankle line. I'm going to be taking the length of the trousers, and I'm going to be adding on 2 inches for the hem. Okay, so we put in the horizontal measurements. That's the hip line, which is from waist to hip. How do I do that? The waistband I'm putting on is going to be 1.5 inches. So I use the inch measure and I put it above the waistline like so. And I take the measure from there. Okay. So from the 1.5 inch, I start to take the measurement down. Okay, so I put in now 8 inches, which is from waist to hip. Then I put in crotch measurement, which is 12 inches. And I have my inch measure same way, 1.5 inch above that waistline. And I mark off 12 inches. I put in the thigh measurement as well, which is about 3 inches below the crotch line. Okay, I put in the knee measurement. So from waist to knee is 21, and I put in the 21. And I put in also the ankle. So from waist to ankle, I put that in. And I add 2 inches for the hemline. Okay, so 2 inches to hem. All right, so now I'm going to now put in the horizontal measurements. So for the hip, so for this one I'm going to put in 12.75. So 12.75 would get me right here. Yes. So I'm going to put the same thing on the crotch line. 12.75 on the crotch line as well. And I'm going to put it on the waistline as well. So 12.75. Okay, so I'm going to now make a line to connect those 3 points. Okay, so that's what we do there. Now I'm going to now look at the crotch extension. Now how do I get the crotch extension? I use the thigh measurement and the hip measurement. So the hip measurement divide by 4, and the thigh measurement divide by 2, and we take it away, and the difference we extend the crotch by. Okay, let me repeat that. So the thigh measurement divided by 2, the hip measurement divided by 4, and we take it away. We subtract those 2 measurements. Whatever we get, we extend that. We extend the crotch line. Okay, so in this case it would be 2.75. I'm extending the crotch line by 2.75. So this is where my extension is, 2.75. Okay, I'm gonna come in from this little angle here, from this right angle here, I'm going to go out by about 2 inches because I want a perfect curve area there. We don't want it to be in too much. So from this angle, I'm going up by 2 inches to make the curve. All right. So we can actually make the curve now. Let me use my buff pen. We'll come back and touch on the hip line there. That's it. Okay. Alright, so that's our crotch extension. Now we're going to measure now. Look what I'm doing. I'm measuring this line across straight to where I just did the extension. Alright, and I got 15.5. Now I'm going to find the midpoint of 15.5 because I want to get the center line. So half of that, that's 15.5, would give me 7 3/4, which would get me somewhere here. So that's where the center line is, 7 3/4. Okay, so we can put it all the way down to the hemline, 7 3/4. So I'm taking it down all the way down to the hemline, 7 3/4. Now I'm going to make a straight line all the way up. I make a line now, mark it. This would be the center line. I'm taking it all the way up to the waist. Okay, so this now is our center line. Now we can now mark off our waist measurement. Waist divide by 4. I'm marking it off right here. The waist divided by 4, 10.75. Okay, and I'm going to add just a half an inch, maybe not half an inch, maybe 1/4 inch for ease. All right, so I'm adding 1/4 inch for the ease. It gets me right here, so adding 1/4 inch for ease. This is it. Okay, and that is for the waist measurement. I'm not going to add any dart. If I was adding dart, then I would add 1 inch on top of that, right, for the dart, but I'm not adding dart here. Okay, let me see what we've got left now. Now for the thigh measurement, divide by 2, right? Remember now, for the waist, divide by 4, the hip divide by 4, and for the thigh, now we're dividing by 2. So I'm going to put in the thigh measurement, and that would be, we'll mark it off here. So that's the thigh measurement. That's that. So the knee measurement now, we're going to do the knee divide by 2. Okay. So when we get the knee, when we get that, we're going to put it across the center line here. All right. So for instance, I get say 10 or 10.5. Right. So So I get 10.5 for the knee circumference. And I divide it by 2. So you have to share it. So half will be over that side and half will be on this side of the center line. Okay? So that 10.5, they're going to share it across the center line. So half of 10 is 5. It's going to be about 5.25. Okay, so 5.25. And you mark that off. 5.25. And you mark it. So this is where the corner, this is where it is. This is where it is. So that's the knee. You mark it off across the center line. You share it. So you divide it by 2, your knee circumference. And when you get that amount, you divide it and you share it across the center line. Alright, so half on this side and half on this side. You do the same thing for the ankle. So the ankle was 13.5. You divide 13.5 by 2, and then you divide again by 2. So you do half on this side and half on this side. Alright? So the whole circumference was 13.5. Okay? So you divide that by 2. You share it in 2. Whatever you get, you share it along the center line. Alright? And this is where it's at. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to connect the points. We're going to connect from the waistline to the hip line, then to the knee line, then to the ankle line. Okay, so I'm going to raise the waist here by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to slant it back to the near to the center line. Okay, that's just to give it a better shape and to let it fit properly. Okay, so shape it back to center line. Okay, so raise it by 1/2 inch there. Okay, so now that I've finished marking out the shape of the trousers, I'm going to be adding now 1/2 inch all around. Alright, so just adding 1/2 inch all around it. This is just the allowance I'm adding around it. I'll be adding more to the back panel. But for the front panel, I'm just adding 1/2 inch all the way around. Shape it. So the bottom at the hemline now, we're gonna just shape it, like do a little slant down there. You don't want it to be straight or you might fall into problem when you're hemming it. So at the bottom you're gonna just give it a little slant like so. Okay, just slant it a little bit. Don't cut it down straight. Okay, now we can cut. Now it's cut out the front panel. So I'm going to place this now on fresh piece of paper, and I'm going to do the outline, and I'm going to mark off major points here at the hip. Make sure the hip line is drawn out, extend it out, extend the crotch line. I'm going to extend the thigh line. I'm going to extend the knee line and the ankle line on the fresh piece of paper. Alright, so stay tuned. So now I've transferred all the lines. First of all, I've made the outline of the front piece on this new sheet of paper. Okay, and then I've extended all the lines on this, still on the sheet of paper. I've extended all the lines, right? The ankle line, the knee line, the thigh, the crotch. So we'll come back to the crotch, the hip line. I've extended them. That's the waistline there. All right. So now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to extend the back crotch, all right, by 2 inches. 2 inches. For a very large person, it might go even up to 3 inches to extend the back piece by, all right? But for this particular one, I'm going to extend it by 2 inch. All right. Now, when I extend it by 2 inch, it's come here. I'm going to go down by 1/2 inch from that 2 inch point, and I get to there, right? So go out by 2 inch, come down by 1/2 inch. All right. So this, where I've come down now, I'm going to make a curve right up back to the waistline, the new waistline I'm going to be making. All right, and that's why I've come down by the 1/2 inch, so that the trousers can fit properly at the crotch area. Okay, so now for the back is always higher than the front. All right, so the first thing I'm doing is, see where the center line is? I'm going to go from the center line to the seam line here. Okay, from the center line to the seam here. The seam is here, and then I'm going to do the midpoint. So I'm finding the midpoint, and the midpoint is here. Okay, so I'm going to come in now by that amount. All right, when I've come in by that amount, now I'm going to go up, because as I said, the back is higher than the front. How much higher? The same amount that we used down here when we were extending the front crotch. So remember, we extended the front crotch by 2.75 from here to there. This is the front crotch area here. All right, and we have extended it by 2.75. So we're going to use the same amount to go up with at the back. I hope you understand that. So I'm going to go up now by 2.75. I'm making a mark there. All right, so that's up by 2.75. Okay. All right, so now I can now draw this line. Remember, I've gone down by 1/2 inch. I can now draw this line straight back up now to this point here that I've just made. Okay, so take your time and you draw this line, hitting the arm. You're hitting the hip line there, so, and you're coming up to this. Okay, so that's what we do. So I'm gonna just draw it brighter. I go straight back up there. All right, so when we have done that now, we are going to now measure the waistline that we have before, and that was 11 inches. So we're going to now measure out 11 inches from that point that you've just made right back to the waistline, the original part of the waistline down here. So we're gonna, hope I'm making sense. they're gonna now mark out 11 inches. So the ruler is now slanted. Let me use the ruler. So 11 inches from here would come here. I'll make a point there, right? I'll make a point there. So we're gonna now slant the ruler like so, and we're gonna draw now our new waistline. Sure. Okay, so this now is a new waistline. Okay, so from here now we're gonna join back to the hip line. All right, so we can do that. I can use my ruler. So this is the hip line here, and from the new waistline now, connect back to the hip line. All right. So now that we've done that, now let me see if we've got everything. So now we've extended the crotch. We've gone up by 2.75. We've joined back the waistline, have our new waistline. So now we are going to add now stitching allowance. All right, so remember we had only added 1/2 inch on the front panel. Yeah. So I'm adding 1 inch on the side. Only got the crotch here on both sides. Okay, so I'm 1 inch and the angle of the crotch here on both sides. So that's what I'm doing now. Okay, I'll do it on that side, and that should be fine for now. Now for this up here, I'm going back up now to put the dart in. Forgot to put the dart in, so I'm going to put the dart in. So I'm just going to go to the center. I'm just taking the center of the waistline here, and I'm going to put the dart right there. Okay, and I'm going to go down by 4 inches for the length of the dart, and on each side of the dart I'm going to do 1/2 inch. All right, so it's a 1 inch dart. Now the dart must take the same shape as this area here in the back. All right, it mustn't be straight, just maybe a bit slant. So from there I'm going to do something like so, because it has that shape there. So so 1 inch on both sides. Okay, and that's my dart there, right? So now, because I've taken 1 inch for the dart, I have to add it back to the waist, right? So I've added it back to the waist here, 1 inch. All right, and I'm now going to add now 1/2 inch now for stitching allowance. It should take me right here. Okay. Now I'm going to go up now with this area here by 1/2 inch, just like what I did to the front, right? So that it fits nicely on the waistline. So I'm up by 1/2 inch. I'm going to take the ruler and up by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to take the ruler and just shape it back to near to the center of the waistline. Okay, that's what you have. So on this side now, just going to do 1/2 inch for joining at this side down to the hip, and Okay. All right. But you know what? I'm gonna now add another 1/2 inch. Just take it up. And now we can cut it. For this area here, I'm just gonna take just 1 inch. Alright, I'm just gonna add 1 inch here. Needing some notch. Just 1 inch. This is the back side area. Just 1 inch. 1 inch should be fine for this area. Extend it there. Extend in the dark. As I can see. So I'm just going to place the pattern now on material, folded material, and then I'm going to cut. Checking, see if I have my waist measurement here. Alright, so I'm going to put this aside now. In my next video, I'll be cutting the band, the waistband, and the pocket, and I'll be stitching the trousers. Okay.